Welcome to the Whitetail Obsession Podcast with Dave Richmond and co-host Chris Worthing, where we talk and teach everything deer and turkey hunting related. Follow along as we help teach you tips and techniques about hunting, food plots, and habitat management strategies that everyone can use.
Podcast 79, guys. Chris has zero muscles. And
Sun's
he's
out.
whiter. And he's white as a ghost. Casper
Whiter
over
than
there.
snow.
Casper over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get tan, son, like this.
Or get burned like that.
Yeah.
Right there.
You got to have muscles like that.
Get
See
burned.
that?
You ain't got no muscle.
More
Muscles
than
in your
you.
mouth. Too
More
much
than
yapping.
you. Yeah.
Yapping your lips.
What
you got?
What'd you do this morning? I heard you planted something.
Oh, my Lord. This morning was screening day.
Hold on. What's today's date? Today's June 22nd.
22nd. Saturday the 22nd.
According to the date, you did it wrong. You waited too long.
Ooh. I guess I'll go tear it all out.
All right. What'd you do?
I planted Incognito from Domain. That is a screening product of Egyptian wheat and
Sorghum.
And a hybrid sorghum.
Mm-hmm.
And I screened in some plots, made a couple screens along some roadways and things, and expecting rain tomorrow. So should be prime time. Should be golden.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to see the outcome.
Yeah, should be good.
Love that stuff.
It's not too long to plant, as long as you're getting rain. You'll get adequate height and growth before the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be so hot and humid the next couple of days. That Egyptian wheat loves the heat and humidity.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we're in a heat wave now, so I'm sure it's across the country here, but it's 95 degrees I think right now with a heat index over 100, and it's hot.
That's brutal.
It's brutal. So today's podcast, I had somebody message me on Instagram. They're looking to buy hunting property, specifically hunting property.
Okay.
They weren't going there, doesn't have a house, doesn't have anything. And they asked us to do a podcast on specific things that somebody should look for when buying a property. And it can be related to lease property too. You're looking for certain things, but 100% ideal property that you would look for when buying deer hunting land.
We might have very different values.
Yeah.
Because where I'm from is mountainous terrain, and Dave's more of a flat area there.
I hate mountains.
So
Kill
he don't like to hike uphill.
I don't like it, but I will if I have to. I just don't like it.
Yeah, we're gonna have different views, I can tell.
Well, that's good. That way people get two different ideas and scenarios. It's actually, I didn't think about it that way. It actually works out good because you're in a completely different habitat than I am here.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's dive into it.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I can go first.
All right, let one rip.
Okay. Let it rip, tater chip.
Oh. All right, go ahead.
Dave.
Sorry.
So and I will put the disclaimer out that I have never had a lease that I've actually went out and looked for.
Mm-hmm.
Dave and I both worked on a lease, but he looked for it, found it, and I helped him there. But if I was going to go out and look for a lease in the terrain that I'm used to hunting is mountainous type stuff, and I would probably look topographically. I would like to see something with some side hills and some ridges and some benches and things. Because I've had a lot of luck on ridge tops and things. Because deer like to be able to be near a quick escape, and they will travel a lot of times on the top of a ridge or just below a ridge. And if they sense danger, then they run like crazy downhill and get away from danger. So that's why I hunt a lot of side hills. That being said, obviously you want to find something with a bedding area. You might want to find something that has an ag area near it, some kind of good food group. Um, if it's not near ag and it's just mountainous terrain, I would want to see lots of oak, fruit or nut bearing trees, something valuable to them that way. Give them a reason to come there and have you a reason to be there. A water source would be good. Um, Not necessarily a creek or anything or a lake, but well, a lake would be fine, but like a pond or some standing water of some sort. I don't know why deer like dirty water. I hate that. And right now we're in this drought type, and this is free. We're in this drought type time in Pennsylvania here, and Dave is too in Maryland. That we may be in a bad situation here if we don't start getting some rain. And we have these stagnant, nasty puddles that are full of midges or whatnot. EHD and all this stuff could turn up. The deer are at risk. I don't know why they like that dirty water instead of like I have a nice clean stream running through my property here, and I've never seen a deer drink from it. They find a
Hmm.
mud puddle or something, you know, or just a washout, and they drink from it. I even caught one the other night here drinking out of the bird bath
Hmm.
at the house here, and that water's nasty from the birds being in it.
They like
But
poop water.
yeah, ugh. But yeah, getting back to the question, I like the hilly terrain. I want to see, like I said, the trees. I want oak and beech and that type of things, nut bearing. Um, as far as bedding, I don't know. Some people don't like all the evergreen and spruce and cedar and all that stuff, but deer like it. It's usually cool and damp in there, and there's not a lot of undergrowth, so they can have a nice soft bed in there. And during the daytime, like it's a hot day like this, they're probably somewhere penned up in a nice damp, dark place. Maybe some evergreens. So I would like that on the property as well. What else could I have? Ideally, I don't know.
That's all you
What do you
got for now?
got? What do you
I
got?
got I
Your
got a lot
turn.
of stuff.
Your turn.
This would be per I unlimited funds, perfect situation,
Oh, that would be awesome.
everything you could ask for. This is what
Hmm.
I would want if I was purchasing land. Um, First, I would look at an aerial photo of the property
Mm-hmm.
and decide whether is it connected to other properties to where could possibly have deer hunters accessing from, or maybe those three sides of that property or something doesn't connect to neighboring properties that I could possibly use for access, because the main thing would be to access the property. Can I access it from the north, east, south, whatever side without having to walk through my entire property to get to the other side?
Mm.
So that's probably my number one thing I would look at, because your neighbors have a direct reflection on the success that you have on your property.
Access is important, and also to add to what you're saying is maybe check with the neighbors and see if they
Hmm.
are hunters, or and maybe see what they value as a trophy, or if they're just meat hunters, or I mean, because you might get in there and try to have a not a trophy piece of property, but an area where you want to get some nicer bucks, and they might just be browning down people.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you
So
might want to get the neighbors involved too.
I'd look at access, neighboring properties, if it connects to them, what's around that, maybe a couple miles in each direction. Um, Personally, I'm split on, an ag type setting or more of a big wood setting. I don't really care for that. If they want to, if I buy property, if it has ag, don't care. If it's big woods, don't care, because I'm just going to manipulate it anyway. So I would look at, definitely 100% look at access. If you can only access from one side of the property, I would not buy it. I would
Hmm.
not buy it. Because I had that scenario now on a lease property that I have. You can only access from one side, and I hate it. So it's not any good. It's not ideal. So I'm kind of upset about that. But
Depends on how big the piece is too.
yeah, but still, I mean, if
Like
you
where I
can't
go over
access,
when the piece I hunt over on the mountain, I can only access it one way,
hmm
you know, and then I can branch out however I'd like. But
yeah,
yeah, I've only got one way in.
yeah, I don't like that. So I would want something that has at least 2 to 3 sides of access points that I can get to. Um, I would also look for uh, me personally, flat. I don't like hills. I don't like mountains. That's just what I grew up into. Was always flat. And hunting the hills and stuff has its benefits because you can, you'll have pinch points and stuff that you can get them on benches and saddles and ridges and all that. Well, flatland here, I have to look for, or people that hunt it have to look for either naturally occurring pinch points, that funnel through hedgerows or around maybe a cattail swamp or an area that maybe a hardwoods butts up against a pines forest or something like that. That's what I'm looking for. Whether it would be like a thick patch of woods that maybe goes through these small hedgerows, and because that would be my naturally occurring pinch point where it connects to a bigger chunk of woods. And a lot of public lands around here have that scenario where there might be 100 acre pine situation that goes through 100-yard wide pinch point out to a hardwoods or an ag field or something. So I would look for scenarios like that were already there. If they weren't there, then you just have to make them. You'd have to create your own pinch points, because if you have, say, just for an example, if you have a solid chunk of 100 acres, where do you hunt? If it's flat,
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to hunt because there's no habitat features to
no,
pattern the deer. So
yeah,
you'd
like
have to make
structure.
your own. Right. You'd have to make your own by cutting some trees down and
Yeah,
maybe cutting an area out for food plots or whatever. But if I had the choice, then I would maybe find an area that maybe already has some clearings.
mm,
Or something. But usually, some of those clearings may not be in the best spot. So there's a lot of things to look for, but you can also that that would make it easier. But then if you have a solid chunk, it's just going to cost you more money to manipulate it yourself and kind of set it up the way you want.
mm.
That's some of the things I would look for. What else you got?
Uh, I just I would want an area where I could probably plant something to supplement the property.
Hmm.
Um, that's probably something that I would look for ideally, even if I was an ag, because all you're looking for is just that one spot to slow them down, just to attract them enough that they'll walk through it,
Hmm.
and get you that shot. Um, that would be something that I would look for. Um, Mature enough timber to be able to put a tree stand in.
Hmm.
Some of these places, that they've been timbered out and
Yeah.
just have a bunch of little saplings, you know. Um, Walk the property, see what kind of trees are there.
Hmm. Some other things I would look for too would be a lot of the areas around here have these cattail swamps.
Mm,
And these cattail swamps, a lot of the deer, they stick in there. They hide in there, bed in there. Some people say they don't, but they do. I see it all the time on some public lands that I hunt. So if some property that I was looking at had some cattail swamps, I would not be afraid of it, because around those edges of those swamps where they connect to and stuff, that's going to be your pinch points. You
mm,
can catch them, around those swamps, and they get up in there in the wintertime and stuff and bed, and I've seen them in there in the summertime as well, just when hunting season starts. Actually, that's where I shot my velvet buck 2 years
yeah,
ago. Well, he bedded in a cattail swamp, and as soon as he exited onto the hardwood side, I was able to shoot him with my bow. Um, I would look for that, and just different timber. Does it have pines? Does it have different types of you know, you know, cedars and low growing habitat, hardwoods, acorns.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna add in some browse. I mean,
mhm,
I'm gonna want browse because if I'm in a mountainous situation and the browse line's too high, they're just passing through.
right.
They're
There's
not
nothing
gonna
to
be.
hold them.
Yeah, there's nothing to hold them there. You know, so I'm looking at, like you said, the lower vegetation, seeing what's there.
Hmm.
Um, there might be green vegetation, but it might be like ferns and things that they're not preferred.
Hmm.
So really inspect that out and see what you got.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scout it for sure.
For sure, boots on the ground's the best way, but yeah.
There's things you can see from a map, but
Mhm.
just a general idea of it. But you're still gonna have to scout it. And
Yeah.
if all them features aren't there, you can make them. It's just gonna take you longer to get there.
Yeah.
Um, but that would be a perfect scenario if it's already there. But even then, if it's already there, it may not be set up the best. So you still have to maybe manipulate it. They're just water source. I'm not really worried about having a water source because I can just make my own. So that wouldn't be a thing that I would look for. Is it wouldn't steer me away. Like if I'm looking at the perfect property, I wouldn't be like, oh shoot, this
Mhm.
place doesn't have water. I don't really care. I could just put my own in. So that would be one thing that would not stop me from buying it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I've never put a water hole in anywhere
mhm.
because there's enough natural springs and things around here that'll make a mud hole and they can drink from. There's all kinds of that stuff around here. I've got a swamp down the road that they go and get water.
Yep.
My property has this creek and overflow, and uh, there's
That's
water all around. And over there on the mountain, I'm hunting over the river. So
Let's
they,
just be honest. You were drinking out of the bird bath as well with the deer.
well, I'm ready to shoot some birds, but that's a whole nother story. They're
Hmm.
trying to make bird nests on my lights at camp.
How
The
high
porch
is that?
lights.
How high is that bird bath that the deer was drinking out of?
Um, it's standard size. It would probably
3
be
feet or so.
3 feet high. Yeah, yeah,
Drinking right out of it, huh?
yeah. Walked right over to it and started drinking it. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Daggone
Standing water.
birds!" Yeah, and it was dirty too. Oh, nasty.
Yeah, they
I
like
keep,
it.
I mean, I keep adding a bucket of water every day to it for the birds, to play in.
Hmm.
And yeah, that big doe, she just went over and just sucked it down. Ooh,
I
gross.
I put in 2 water holes at the farm, the new
Hmm.
farm, and actually that's where TJ shot his buck last year was pretty much right over the water hole.
Yeah.
But summertime, man, them things get gnats in there and
Ugh.
mosquitoes, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's in a tub, and
Hmm.
buried in the ground, but it's just stagnant water, and
Yeah.
they drink it all the time. Not They drink it more in the fall than they do the summer. So I do get videos and pictures of them in there in the summer, but they
Hmm.
hit it really hard right around maybe like early October or
Mm,
so. And then November, I have dozens of trail camera videos where they're in there and during the rut.
mm.
I'll see them running back and forth, panting, and then they'll stop real quick. They'll drink the water for a couple, like maybe like a minute or two, and then they just keep going. So, but that's stuff that I put in. There is a creek there, but during the summer, it really, I mean, it's dry as a bone during the
Mm.
summertime. So, but it's a creek and it's a long creek. Where do you hunt it at? So that's why I do like putting uh, the water sources in. It kind of it does work. So
Yeah.
that's some things that I would look for. Perfect scenario.
Right.
But no matter what you buy anyway, I mean, somebody's always going to probably manipulate it a little bit. But
Yeah.
you like those hills,
I
so
do. I do like some of those hillsides and
yeah.
things.
Where
I
I'm
like
at,
to be able to look down.
yeah. If you go to the Eastern Shore, flat as a pancake.
Mm.
Where I'm at here, where I live, there's some areas that have some hills, some public lands and stuff. But if you go out like one of the public lands I hunt down in Charles County, um, I mean, it's flat as an air, or flat as a pancake. If I go right over to Bridge and hunt, flat as a pancake, like where me and you went, Sika hunting,
Yeah.
flat as a pancake.
Yeah, it was.
Majority of it is pines. There are
Mm.
some hardwood sections and stuff, but I mean, you saw how flat it was.
Yeah.
So that's generally what I'm hunting on public land around here, is what you saw.
Yeah. So, like I said, my scenario is I like to get on ridge lines and things.
Hmm.
What do you what do you look for if you're on a flat piece of property like that? You just look for a transition from something thick to something thinner, or
Yeah. So
basically.
here, yep, I would look. I mean, there's so many different scenarios, but I would look for like maybe a cattail swamp, and
Hmm.
then I would walk that cattail swamp around and say, oh, you can see where they're walking it, and then I would say, okay, well, they're walking around, the back side of it, and on this side over here, on the left side, it transitions maybe into a thicket or a
Hmm.
hardwood section or something. Or I would look for, maybe there's like a Sika hunting, for example. You have those that clear cut where you shot your buck.
Hmm.
You were kind of out on a point, but
Yeah.
those
Hmm.
those deer were running through that thicket during the rut. Now,
Hmm.
during open, bow season, they probably wouldn't be doing that. They would be more going through worrying about the pinch points and things. But I would look for like a hardwood section uh, that narrows down with maybe a 50-yard wide pinch point, or hedgerow that goes through,
Hmm.
or the corners of fields, in like the inside corners of two fields,
Yeah.
or of the backside of an ag field.
Right.
You know, work
I
trying
like
to get
corners.
those. Yep, trying to get those where they crossing through the corners there, or just
Hmm.
inside the woods. But yeah, here it's a little bit hard to pattern because you have to find the pinch points because it's a lot of big wood settings and there's no hills, it's flat, so you kind of have to get a little creative, or maybe go a little further than you're used to going.
Yeah,
So not
it looks like it would be hard to get something patterned. I mean,
It is.
you watch some of these shows on television or something, and they pan the woods with the camera, and it's just open woods. The next
Hmm.
thing they show a buck coming right to them on a string. Yeah, how?
Hmm.
you know, yeah, that would be so hard to.
Yeah, it can get a little tricky.
Yeah.
Not this weekend. What is this weekend? So not this weekend, but next weekend I'm heading to one of public. It's like 2,500-acre public land I have that I'm hunting. I'm putting all my cameras out on that property. So
Mm-hmm.
um, about an hour and a half drive, but it's got some nice bucks from what I saw last year on trail camera, and I'm gonna be probably spend most of the day there. And I got some new areas that I looked at on a map that are good, that look like good pinch points and things. So
Right.
I got about 6 cell cams I'm gonna put out over there, and I will be looking for the exact things that we just talked about.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So I'm starting to get a couple pictures here and there on the cell cams that I put out on the
hmm
mountain. Still, that one spot's kind of dry. Nothing's happening. I'm not getting any pictures out of that camera.
well, leave it there. I mean,
So see what
we're gonna move
happens. In
the one
years
land
past, I would get hammered with pictures there.
on that spot.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Hmm. Well, the cameras that I put out on public land, I guess 2 weeks ago now, I put them in an area where I'm not going to get a lot of pictures during the summer because
Hmm.
I've already hunted there 2 years now. Shot my velvet buck the first year. The second year, I kind of learned a little bit more. Now this year, I know where they're at during the rut on that land because that property gets really pressured. So I put 3 cell cams out with lithium batteries in it. I'm getting, I got some does and stuff with some fawns I've seen recently, a couple small bucks and things cruising through. But those cameras I'm leaving alone. I'm not worrying about them. And during the rut, they will come to life, and I will make a move because I showed you all them bucks I was getting during daylight last year in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
That's
thought you was going to go kill one.
I don't know. Last year I wasn't I don't know. I wasn't into it for some
Well,
reason.
when you did go, they didn't show up that day.
I saw some small ones, but
Mhm.
before that and after that, I mean, it was daylight. I mean, it was
Yeah,
bucks
because you
after
had that
bucks.
one. It was pretty much patterned. I mean, it was coming every
Yes.
day, and then you showed
Yeah.
up and it didn't. That was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. So
I
they
thought for
could have
sure you was
smelled
going to
me
kill
or
that one.
yeah, I was excited too, but the cameras are in pretty much all the same spot there. That was just one camera, but I added two more this year, so three total. So I'm gonna wait till they come to life during hunting season and try to go kill one.
Sounds like a plan.
Podcast 79,
79, looking for some property.
looking for property. One day I'll buy some.